Welcome back to the show, everybody. Now to discuss some of today's biggest political stories, we bring in our power panel. Joining me now is A.B. Stoddard, Associate Editor and columnist for The Hill. Also joining the conversation, Christina Bellantoni, Associate Politics Editor of Roll Call, and Christopher Barron, Chairman of the Board of GOProud. First question, not buying it. Andrew Ross Sorkin's column in the New York Times suggests that the rift between Wall Street and President Obama might be just a show. At the president's New York fundraiser last week, a top bank executive said, quote, Obama hasn't been too bad to the banks. He could have been worse. His rhetoric was obnoxious. But since the midterms, he's turned it off. And if they really do dislike him, they got a funny way of showing it because he's raised $2.4 million from them. All right, well, let's get to it. What do you think here? Let me start with you, A.B. Has the president been a lot kinder to the bankers than he's letting up?
Well, I know the president is doing everything he can to meet with anyone he can who will promote hiring. And he wants to show the American people and show the Republican Party that he's working hard to help create new jobs. And so he is spending a lot more time with these people than he probably was in the height of the health care battle in 2009 or early 2010. And he is, I think he has apologized for isolating them with some of his rhetoric. And I think that he is thinking about his reelection and trying to cozy up at some level. Now, I don't know that he's helped them materially, but I think that he's trying to mend fences, and that's been a huge effort of Chief of Staff Daley since he took that job. So that's something that we're not going to know the exact details, but we know that they're meeting more than they have in the first 2 years of his term. Right.
Now, Christina, is that good politics? Sorkin writes that basically the bankers think that his bark was worse than his bite. But in public, for people to know that, that he has apologized to the bankers, as A.B. put it, I don't know if he actually specifically did that, but the idea being pushed out there is, don't worry, I'm gonna be all right to you guys. That can't be good politics, can it?
I mean, you talk about the money he's raised from bankers. I mean, look at the 2008 campaign. I mean, everybody raises money on Wall Street, and most people demagogue off of Wall Street as well. All during last fall's campaign, the president talked about financial reform. He said Republicans would undo it. He talked about the fat cats in Wall Street and how he's more for the middle class. I mean, these are just sort of standard political talking points. And progressives really want to see him get a little bit tougher on Wall Street. They want to see him talk about income inequality. And they didn't like the fact that he met with some of these big donors from Wall Street in the White House to talk about his re-election campaign and raising money for that. At the same time, he's asking for $5 donations from them, saying, hey, I'm not going to take money from fat cats. So there's a little bit of a incongruity there. Yeah, well, I'd like him to get much, much tougher, of course. People know that. But, Chris, you got to be happy about this. Hey, look, the banks get a free ride. Conservatives must love that.
No, well, first off, look, Obama spent his first 2 years demonizing Wall Street, which this administration does, which is
pick a group, demonize. Crash their economy. Can't we say, hey, they crashed the economy?
No, you should. You want to demonize somebody? Demonize, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac for starting the financial meltdown. Fannie Mae,
Freddie Mac. I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wall Street had nothing to do with it, right? There's poor innocent guys. What happened? Oh my God! We crashed the economy. I didn't see that coming. All
of this was interlocking. What I think is amazing is Obama spends 2 years demonizing Wall Street, and then when it's time for him to turn around and start funding his re-election campaign, he goes back to him, asking for money with a wink and a nod. I would hope that the folks on Wall Street would realize. I know that they're good businessmen and they got to hedge their bets, but I hope they realize that President Obama is no friend to business.
Well, no, Chris is right. The Republicans will sell out to Wall Street a lot better. All right, so next question. Debunk or rebunk for Mitt Romney? Mitt is still repeating his frequently debunked talking point about President Obama and the economy.
He did not cause this recession, but he made it worse.
Now, the reality is that the economy is now growing instead of shrinking like it did at the end of the Bush presidency. The recession officially ended 6 months after Obama took office, and the economy is now adding jobs, not losing jobs, as it did towards the end of the Bush era. Chris, let me start with you on this one. I mean, obviously, the situation is turned around here to look at that chart, look at those numbers, and to say that Obama made it worse. Doesn't it stretch credit a little bit?
No, then you got nothing to worry about. I think Obama should run on exactly your talking points. He's turned this economy around, and happy days are here again. Let's hear that. Let's hear about all, everything is fine, everything is great. The American people don't buy that for 1 second. You can say it all you want. The fact is, average voters don't feel like that. So Mitt Romney's absolutely right. President Obama made this economy worse by making this economic downturn last longer than it should have.
So, Christina,
policies made this last longer.
Is Chris right? Are the American people not buying facts? And so is this talking point going to work?
You will rarely hear me cite national polls, but I think that this is a really important indicator when you look at the mood of the country on this, right track, wrong track, and how they feel about the economy. Is it improving? And a lot of people do feel that it is not great, and I think that that will affect him, regardless of what the actual number of the unemployment rate is when voters go to the polls more than a year from now. If people do not feel that the economy is rebounding, it doesn't really matter what those economic indicators
actually,
are.
I don't disagree with you guys, and Amy, I'm going to start with you on the next topic here. I think it might be a good talking point whether it's true or untrue, so we'll see how that plays out in the election. Now, last question. Was New York's gay marriage vote based on principle or money? The Huffington Post reports gay marriage supporters promised big donations to undecided lawmakers, especially Republicans, if they voted for the bill. And Clark Cooper, executive director of the Log Cabin Republicans, said the goal was to, quote, it was to show that, quote, it was either extremely beneficial for them to have voted for the bill or that there was no negative effect. AB, they looks like they're saying, hey, you know what? You vote with us, you get a lot of money. You don't get the money. Is that how politics is really played, and is that what made the difference in New York?
Money can really make a difference, Cenk, in grassroots campaigns to raise awareness about issues, but you really, in the end, cannot buy a vote from someone who's trying to hold their job and is afraid they'll lose power. There has been a generational shift. There's been a total change, a rapid change in public opinion on this issue. Republicans really see this as a way to neutralize this issue by taking it away from the Democrats and coming aboard. I think that they see that there's not only money there, but lots of votes because they think that it's a popular policy now, and times have changed. So I just don't think 5-7 years ago, lots of campaign checks could have swayed these Republicans on this issue if it hadn't changed at the ground level.
It's a combination of things. But Chris, first I got to give Log Cabin Republicans a lot of credit here, and you and I have had these discussions, but they really delivered here on this issue. But secondly, at this time, as AB's pointing out, money, will that do the trick? Will that push people over the edge? Did that strategy work here?
Of course, money, is it going to play a role in politics? Absolutely. You think what's getting President Obama to, quote, evolve on the question of gay marriage is because, he cares fundamentally about gay people so much? No, it's because he wants to go to, gay donors and make a couple million more dollars worth of withdrawals from the gay TM. It's all about money, whether we like it or not.
Gay TM, all right. That's the word of the day.
I think it's important to note here, though, that it's a powerful interest group, right? And when you have people that have a lot of money that are able to influence whether it's legislators or public opinion based on the way that they spend or the way that they get their message out there. Compare it to immigration reform. You don't have billionaires out there that are illegal immigrants who are advocating for immigration reform. And so this is an area where if you had an issue where there are people with money, they can make a difference.
Absolutely right. AB starter Christine Bellantoni. Christina. God, guy with the name Cenk Uygur butchers another name. Anyway, Christopher Barron, all of you, thank you so much. And my takeaway is gay TM. I hadn't heard that before.